this is this is I feel like I don't know what they're doing, bro. It's just like a lot of contradictions. Like in it's not just it just I just feel like they're just doing this now. There's just things that are just like out of nowhere. I'm like, what? Like the first 5 chapters of Two Blue Vortex all were heavily implying or stating or hinting at the exact same thing, which fit right in line with chapter 80. It's that you can see these physical evidences and so on, and because you see, like, these obvious weird things, you could doubt your memories. But then omnipotence will erase your doubts of your memories. And it's the same thing with Ada's love charm. Omnipotence makes you love Ada. If you tell yourself, no, I don't love Ada, I actually want to kill Ada, omnipotence will erase that feeling and tell you basically, oh, actually, yeah, you do love Ada. No, you don't want to kill her. That's basically what it does. And the same thing applies to the role reversal. You say, oh, I actually think my memories are wrong. I don't think that happened. Omnipotence says, no, actually, do you think those are definitely right? Do you think that all happened? It just, or if you, whatever the feeling, the change caused by omnipotence is, if you doubt that thing, omnipotence will erase that doubt. That's what's implied every step of the way. The first chapter started as all mad because Shikamaru didn't believe her, no matter what she explained to him. She goes on to say that originally Shikamaru noticed weird things about Kawaki, but then he stopped caring because omnipotence erased that doubt. Nobody forgot that Kawaki has ninja tech and Ishiki's powers. They literally saw it and nobody was surprised because they didn't care anymore. They basically think, yeah, okay, Kawaki has Ishiki's powers and ninja tech now, but he didn't have it before. I swear it. I remember it. That's how they feel. And then you get this chapter. Oh, also, by the way, freaking chapter 5, they made a huge ass deal about the fact that Amato concluded his memories were altered based off physical evidence. Sarada and Sumai were literally sweating. They look so concerned in these panels. They're like, this isn't normal. Nobody else was able to do that when we showed them photos of Boruto and shit. They made a big deal out of it. And then in the next chapter, Shikamaru figures it out. Like, what do you mean? And then in this chapter, apparently, Sarada and Sumire explained everything to Shikamaru numerous times. If Shikamaru figured it out, like the only reason he didn't figure out, according to him, is that he didn't consider the fact that his memories were altered. Okay. There's no way that Sarada and Sumire explained the concept of omnipotence without mentioning that his memories were altered. So Shikamaru could have already made the same conclusion as chapter 6. And then if that's the case, he already believed them at some point. The conversation chapter 1 would have just been Sarada's weekly reminder to Shikamaru, where instead of being mad and arguing with each other, she would just tell him, hey, this is what happened, just reminding you forgot. And he'd be like, okay, I believe you. Like, I'll let you talk for a little bit before I keep going on.
So the funny thing about this is the fact that, okay, so like in the latest chapter, Boruto says, wow, Shikamaru, you figured it out on your own. That's a massive feat. Like, props to you. First of all, he didn't do that. He did that through Amado. But based on what we understand, he didn't believe Sarada for 3 years straight. Whereas he believes Amado after hearing it once. And Boruto, the traitor.
This was like the most sus, shady, unreliable narrator who Shikamaru has never trusted because Amado lies and all this shit. And then Boruto, the traitor. What makes them more trustworthy than Sarada and Sumire?
It's not just that Sarada is like a very trustworthy comrade ninja shinobi of Konoha. She has no reason to lie in the first place. Like, okay, it may be like, oh, she's emotional because of Boruto. Apparently, it's beyond Boruto. She's explaining Ada's ability. Shikamaru knows that Sarada is immune to Ada's ability. Same with Sumire. It's both of them.
Like the only 2 people immune to Ada's love charm.
are the
It's like,
only
yeah,
two people
just like we're
explaining,
immune to
hey,
that, we're
this
also
is
immune to it. And
Ada's
Shikamaru
ability.
knows they're immune to the charm. Shikamaru knows they're immune to the charm.
So if those specific two people come to you saying, hey, Ada did a jutsu called Omnipotence, you believe that.
Yeah, and it's like, why would he have not believed it? So then you can say, oh, okay, maybe he did believe it, but then he forgot. That is still problematic because, first of all, Boruto doesn't say Shikamaru is going to forget, all the random physical evidences he's seen. That obviously isn't the case because nobody is surprised in chapter 1 when Kawaki uses, or the first few chapters when Kawaki uses Ishiki's powers or ninja tech. Nobody's like, oh my god, where'd you get the ninja tech? Why do you have Ishiki? Nobody's like that. They all knew it. Nobody forgot. So you don't forget physical evidence, at least. And so if he forgets that, Boruto also he says, I need you to trust that me and Kawaki switch places without proof after you forget about omnipotence. So that implies that Shikamaru will still believe it. He doesn't need to know about omnipotence to believe that. He literally believed it before anyone told him about omnipotence. So it doesn't matter if he forgets omnipotence.
But if he
According to
forgets about
Shikamaru,
Omnipotence, why would
the
he
role
even
reversal thing
think that
just
they
made more
switched roles?
sense.
Like, why would he not? Like, if he's gonna forget Omnipotence, why would he not just forget this? Because they're talking about it. Like, he's gonna forget Boruto asking him to trust him without proof. Because the conversation is about Omnipotence.
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on what specifically, but like, even if he doesn't remember the concept of omnipotence, so I guess that either Boruto's just wrong and he can't do that, but like, he can do that because, according to Shikamaru, things make more sense when you flip their positions. Shikamaru's always going to think that now because he's already thought it. Like, that won't go away. Like, everything will just make more sense. And in worst case scenario, all Sarah and Sumire need to do is remind him, hey, your memories might be altered, and then Shikamaru being Shikamaru will figure it out again. Like, they could just repeat that process. But for some reason, apparently he doesn't believe it when they say it. It makes sense.
Even if Shikamaru forgets it afterwards, with the time he has to have it in his memory, he would just do something about it, right? like he wants to do something about it.
Like in the first few chapters, it's like Shikamaru won't like help Boruto protect Boruto from the village or anything, but like he's doing that now. He could have just listened to Sarah and Sumire and done that behind the scenes all over the time skip without quite frankly, Sarah and Sumire should have just been able to convince the entire village.
And seemingly assuming Shikamaru just remembers to trust Boruto even if he forgets omnipotence, that could have applied 3 years ago. He would have trusted Boruto 3 years ago despite not knowing omnipotence.
Exactly. So like why like all this should have already happened. It doesn't make sense how they did. But the thing is, but honestly speaking, Shikamaru shouldn't have ever been able to figure out in chapter 6 the truth. Because what was implied is that omnipotence prevented him from doing that. Even Sasuke, he trained Boruto for 2 whole years, and he still is like, I don't actually know who you are. But, I don't care because of Sarada. Sasuke didn't believe him after 2 years. Like, Shikamaru shouldn't have been able to. This is beyond a prologue versus first arc, Oodie. It's just literally a different series at this point. Because Shikamaru shouldn't have been able to even make the conclusion. Because if he did, regardless of anyone telling him anything, Shikamaru on his own should have just considered the possibility of his memories being altered. Because nobody remembers all these crazy shit that's happening. It's like you live in a ninja world where people have mind-altering abilities. Orochimaru's cup of tea, or Sasuke's genjutsu, Kono Matsukami, blah, blah. Like, and then you have all these ninja who just conveniently don't remember things. Like Kabawari not remembering Boruto living in her house 11 years ago. It's like the first thing you should think is, maybe all of our memories are just wrong because nothing makes sense. And then boom, he figures it out. but he didn't do that because Omnipotence prevented him from doing it. So why is he even figuring it out now?
It's
And
not
then you
like
could say, okay, our Ada theory, right?
yeah.
Well, then later in this chapter, they imply that it's actually Kawaki, not Ada. So
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But it's not like Ada affects you on like a physical level. No, Ada's love charm literally is a mental thing anyways. So why would he just not assume Ada has mental abilities? Like, what do you mean?
exactly. It's just like, why would you never consider? He never considered the possibility of this shit. Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, this should be a pretty easy. Like, I feel like it would be like the moment things don't make sense, you should be thinking, huh, I wonder, is it Genjutsu? Like, it's not even a crazy thought. Like, it's not out of the realm that like this could happen to people.
It's not just that he ultimately denied Sarada, it's that he never even considered her words a possibility. He shut it down from the get-go.
And and that's the thing. How could they like it doesn't actually feel like Stardust and Samurai actually explained omnipotence to Shikamaru. Like they didn't even say it in the chapter at any point. We never saw them tell Boruto. Did he just assume this shit?
It has to be, because in chapter 1, Ada's explaining omnipotence to them. So unless this is like the second time she's done it, or who knows how many times, why would she just do that? And why would they look surprised? Like, they already know about this.
Yeah. No, actually, let's go look at what she said again. What did she tell him?
Okay,
Word
while
for
you look
word.
that up, I'm gonna
Let's find out.
I'm just gonna read out loud what I say in the podcast topics for this thing. So, bruh, the latest chapter's
Okay,
explanation
all right,
of
hold on.
omnipotence
Wait,
saying, yeah, what's up?
I found it.
Okay.
So, they're like, you still ain't giving up. And then Ada says, I have no control over omnipotence, just like my ability to charm. Though recently, we've at least started to understand how it works. It's not recent. And then Stardust says, any new information. And Ada's quote unquote new information is what we know right now is that omnipotence is a type of Otsuki Shinjutsu that makes one's desires real, and that it was Kawaki's desire that created our current circumstances. Everyone's memories were changed. Everything they remembered about Boruto and Kawaki was rewritten, resulting in the two switching positions. Um, that's the new information.
It's not that they're
Ada
fully
says,
figuring out. They're
also
starting to understand how it works.
that's already bullshit right there. But then Started to ask, is there no way to reverse it? Like it's just she's never asked this before. And Ada says, I don't know. But it's no use talking to those who were affected by omnipotence. They'll never understand. Well, we found a guy who's understanding now.
Yeah, it's
like
it
the
hasn't
reason why
been
they would never
yet.
understand is because yeah, exactly. Like this is just like like I didn't even think about this aspect that Sarda apparently just never asked Ada about omnipotence until chapter 1, apparently because um unless Ada was just pretending to not know stuff for 3 years. That's also possible, I guess. Like Ada was lying, but either way it sounds like this is new information to Sarda. So when did she ever explain it to Shikamaru?
The thing with Amado, he has to be capping because there's no way he's just now figuring it out 3 years later. He would do the same thing like Shikamaru, or he would just realize and forget. But then if that's the case, if he was actually under omnipotence, he would have explained this to Sumire like 10 times over by now. He wouldn't have waited 3 years to do it.
Exactly.
So, and this is
Exactly.
clearly not the first time Sumire is hearing. This is very clearly the first time Sumire is hearing Amado explain this.
Exactly, and same for Shikamaru,
Yeah.
who on surveillance with this guy all the time. And Amado never even implied that it was the first time he figured this out either. He just said, like, I can instantly tell that this is my karma seal. It just apparently nobody asked Amado for 3 years, which is also stupid. Like, why would they already assumed that Kawaki was remodeled by Kara because it wasn't Katasuke. Wouldn't your first suspect be Amado? Like, why would you ask this guy?
I'm just gonna assume that Amado, regardless of omnipotence, he should know that Ada has omnipotence. I'm assuming he knows he gave Ada the ability of omnipotence. It's Lure Shibai.
Yeah, like he knows that it's more than just a love charm. That he knows that it's actually omnipotence.
Yeah.
I mean,
He should have gave.
yeah,
Both
that
Ada
wouldn't
and
surprise me.
Amado
Like, I feel like he
abilities.
has to know. I don't even think he's affected, honestly, because I think Amato is capping. Because,
Yeah.
well, no matter, even with all the weirdness that doesn't make sense with the latest chapters, Amato just seems to like always have known this and just not said anything. And if he understands omnipotence, it's possible that he thinks that everyone will just forget about what he said because it won't matter. Um, but he can answer Sumare's question and it won't matter, kind of thing. But of course, he doesn't know that she's immune. Um, but yeah, I don't think he's effective, regardless of why. I don't think he is.
I mean, Shikamaru wouldn't remember his conversations with Sarada over the past 3 years if this was true. But he clearly does.
Exactly. He was annoyed by how much he remembered the conversations. And Sarada was annoyed by how much these conversations weren't getting anywhere.
And Shikamaru was acting like in the late
She
chapter,
said,
like,
"Why can't
what?
you
There's no
understand?"
way they talked to me about this. Literally,
Exactly. Like, it Sarada didn't say, "Why can't you remember?" She said, "Why can't you understand?" Like,
so like,
it's just,
you clearly didn't understand the entire thing.
and here's the thing. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, the problem isn't that omnipotence erases the memory of omnipotence. That's not the problem. The problem is that it seems to be the replacement for the original problem, which was you just can't doubt your memories. If you have both, that's fine. You can't doubt your memories, but you also will forget omnipotence. That works fine. But the problem is, it seems like they just got rid of the whole you can't doubt your memories thing by having Shikamaru figure it out in the first place. He should have been able to do that.
Dude, our theory
That's the
for
problem
it
I
is
have
so much
more than
better.
anything.
Honestly, if they just retcon all this and just go with our theory, that would just be so much better.
Well, I mean, yeah, our theory can solve all these problems because yeah, that's literally the only way to solve this at this point. Like, I wouldn't have had half the shit, but like, I wouldn't have had Shikamaru figure it out in the first place. But the only way to solve this is literally to use the Ada theory,
Yeah.
which might as well get into that. Apparently, they're acting
time,
like it's Kawaki's omnipotence. It's not Ada's. It's actually Kawaki's.
Yeah, let me go get that really quick. I should probably just look it up in the chapter.
It's implied numerous times. Like, it's one thing to say that it reflects Kawaki's desires, but it's another thing to say that, like, he is, like, in control or whatever.
Here we go. Okay. Is there a way to get it one page at a time? Probably. Not what I want to read. Trying to get this on. Okay, that's good enough. So it's the next page, I think. I don't think I'm sharing my screen yet. Okay, yeah. Let me share my screen for you. Not for stream yet, but so it's gotta be next page. Okay. Really quick here. Okay. For stream. Ada's Shinjitsu Omnipotence. Yeah, so the Shinjutsu of Shinjutsu, Shinjitsu. The official Viz translation.
I know, they literally call it every other chapter says Shinjutsu. I joked about it in my review. But I haven't edited yet. But I was like, I think that's an error. It's funny how we were talking about how the official source can't be trusted anymore, and then like they're proving our point.
Oh, no. Like, this is beyond just getting the wrong translation. It's you have typos. You're a company. You were paid to do this.
It's like, bro, like, do you not double check this shit?
Like, do you not have more than one person on this?
And it's not even that Shikamaru's just saying it wrong because he doesn't know. He literally heard the Shinjutsu talk with Amada. Like, he's heard Shinjutsu enough to know how it's spelled. Okay?
Terrible. So I do not trust Viz. I did it before, but now, like, I've erased my doubt. There's no
Literally,
more room
dude,
in my
I need
heart
to,
for
like,
Viz.
at this point, I just need you to translate the entirety of the Naruto manga for me in the Boruto manga, just so we can see how much different the story actually is.
Good. Well, I know
We'll find out that all these plot holes and questions we have, Kishimoto actually answers in the original Japanese, and everything's just worded way different. Like,
oh God. So where's the next thing we wanted to talk about in here?
oh, the Kawaki Desire thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, why was Boruto like so hesitant to talk to Shikamaru in chapter 6, but then he tells him everything anyway, and not only that, he's just gonna forget half of it. Why was he so reluctant to talk to Shikamaru in chapter 6? And why did he cut himself off from talking to Sarada? Whatever he was gonna say, whether it's I'll save Kawaki or Naruto, whatever. Like, he has no problem telling Mitsuki, Ino, and Shikamaru all these things. Why can't Sarada know?
God. It's crazy. Okay. Here, we'll do this one. So this is what we're talking about here. Seeing as Omnipotence effects lies with Kawaki, I'd like to avoid making him feel cornered again. Which means not exposing what he did quite yet. So you have to stay a fugitive. Are you okay with that? So Omnipotence's effect, it can be reversed, apparently, because it lies with Kawaki. And so if you make Kawaki feel cornered again, then Omnipotence effect will... God knows, but...
Yeah, we don't know what Kawaki will think.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I have to assume that, like, if it's really Kawaki, like, it's not Ada's desire to help Kawaki, it would have to be like a combo thing where, kind of like Damon's reflection, if you're touching Damon, you can kind of get its reflection power, where Ada was like, wanted to help Kawaki, and that activated Omnipotence, and because Kawaki was touching her, his thoughts flowed into it. But, like, I still feel like that would just be Ada, though. Even that is still kind of Ada to me. Like,
yeah. Like Naruto,
like, I'm not gonna say that
Naruto didn't transmit his thoughts to the Alliance. Ino did. It's Naruto's memories, but it's Ino's jutsu.
Exactly. Like or even something as simple as like when the Raikage went through Obito when he was holding Sasuke in the 5 Kage Summit arc. Like, Sasuke technically got Kamui intangibility for a second. I wouldn't say that Sasuke was using Kamui or that the effect of Kamui lied with Sasuke. I would say that Obito's Sasuke just carried on to Sasuke. Like, Obito's Kamui carried on to Sasuke, I mean. I'm sure we can come up with lots of examples, but, like, I think your best example is that feeling one with Naruto and Hashirama as well. Like, yeah, it's Hashirama's memories or Naruto's feelings, but it's Ino's jutsu. The effect lies with Ino. If Ino stops using the jutsu, the effect goes away. if Ada just stops wanting to help Kawaki, this will go away.
Yeah. Especially considering it's constantly rewriting itself. So clearly it's still like
literally, like, not just like it's literally just changing on the go. Like, does Kawaki just want to be exposed now? Like, I know our Ada theory about her not wanting to help as much, but, like, does Kawaki want it to work less or something?
As more time goes on, the less angry he is at Boruto. He's just sort of getting over it.
Yeah, Kawaki actually just wants Shikamaru to find out. Like, he hates him that much.
Oh my god. Okay. Anything on this page we should do? I mean, it's already stuff we talked about.
I know, I've just done
You
a bunch of
figured it
yelling.
out on your own. That's no mean feat. It's damn impressive. Wasn't on his own at all.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It wasn't actually on his own. It was because of Amato.
Those altered memories are all real to you. I mean, the altered memories in terms of Boruto and Kawaki, yeah. But his memories weren't altered with Sumire and Sarada. They were just, what, erased?
Yeah, like those memories are just gone, I guess.
Like, how's the
Like
doubt
what? Like
play
that's
into
the
this?
other thing, though. Like even if like the conversation, this is the thing, though, with those conversations. Hypothetically, Sarada and Sumire explain omnipotence. Even if he forgets the omnipotence part, he's still gonna hear some of the stuff they said, and that should still prompt him to figure out the rest the same way Amato's talk did.
Yeah.
Like, this just doesn't make sense.
Trying to find the part where they say it's Sarada and Sumire that talk to him. Okay, right here. Yeah.
Oh, it's in this page.
Yeah.
Top leftish. Yeah, the one on the left there.
Okay. So this was not in the spoilers that we had. So Sarada and Class Rep have already told you numerous times. This is far from the first time you're hearing about it. Don't figure out how omnipotence actually works.
He's like, what?
You'll soon forget it anyways. Yeah. He doesn't say what he says.
How
no
soon?
way.
Dude.
It's not that he just doesn't remember. It's impossible. He doesn't even consider the possibility that they had talked to him. Those two people immune to it. Why would they talk to him about this? The very concept of omnipotence won't stick in your memory ever. It fades away over time. That's part of its power. I feel like ever. So assuming omnipotence just went away and they weren't under
Ever
omnipotence
was weird.
anymore.
Yeah, like I was like, ever doesn't make any sense because he's just ever. So like, technically 3 seconds later, that's Shikamaru, if he still knows about omnipotence, is a memory of what Boruto said. So it did stick in his memory. Ever. Like, might not be long, but it still did.
Yeah, see, this is exactly what I was talking about with, like, the picture thing. Like, if you show someone a picture of, like, baby Boruto and Naruto standing there, they're like, huh, yeah, that's weird. The moment you take it away, it's like the recognition goes out of their mind, was my theory. That's not even the case here. Like, Shikamaru just remember it after the fact.
Exactly. So, like, it would be fine. Like, your theory would work fine. The reason why I didn't agree with your theory, though, is because if that was the case, every single time Kawaki used Sukuna Hikona or his ninja tech, they should have been surprised and be like, that's weird, and then forget. And then he does again, that's weird, but they don't. They clearly remember it. Yeah. That's why I disagree with you. But it's just inconsistent, bro. Like,
Okay, we'll read this podcast topic just since it's weird to read the podcast topic after explaining it, but bruh, the latest chapter's explanation of omnipotence, saying you'll just forget it in time and that you've realized and forgotten many times, literally contradicts an earlier explanation where everyone questioned it at first, and Shikamaru even hounded Kawaki. But as more time passed, the doubts faded. Which is it? If it was true, Sarada would be able to convince him, like every other week, instead of successfully at first, then never again. Sarada would know this because we hear it through her perspective.
I don't think it's that she successfully convinced him. I think it's more like Shikamaru was questioning, like, why do you have a ninja tech body? But then Omnipotence, like, just, he's doubting things, and then Omnipotence erases the doubt. And because of that, progressively, that has a better effect because the more he stops doubting himself, the less doubt he has, obviously. So that's why it's over time. But I don't think she ever convinced him at first. I think he just had questions, but then he slowly gave up.
Yeah.
But either way, you're